Mishnah Zayin. En korban pesach ba el hazachar ben shana. And other things for the korban pesach, it has to be a year old, and it has to be a male. Sheneemar.
It has to have a 1 year old. It can't
1 year old.
be under one.
That's right. A year old. And sheneemar, because it says, set tamim zachar ben shana yelachem. It has to be without a sheep, without a blemish, a male, a year old should be to you. Mishnatenu dana b'mi she'ekdish lepischo kivsa. Our Mishnah comes to tell us a case where somebody brought a female, or keves ben shnatayim, or a male who is 2 years old. And you would say, how would you know? Right? How would you know? So in that time, it was very easy to know. How would you know? Because the herds will grow on their own. Every year, you will have that herd, or the small ones you will put, you will separate them, all the small ones. So you will know how all the time the sheep is. Today, people don't deal with it, but in the old time, you would know immediately. Yeah, it goes with that herd. Whatever has been born, and most of the sheep are born at this time right now. So you would know. Yeah. Hamafrish nekeva lepischo. Somebody who designated a female for his Pesach sacrifice, or zachar ben shtei shanim, or a male 2 years old, she'enam reuim lekorban Pesach, kmo she'ezkarnu la'el, that you cannot bring as a Pesach sacrifice, like we exchanged above. Again, you did the wrong thing, but you designated it as a holy, as a sacrifice. You can't bring it as Pesach, so what do you do with it now?
You can exchange it. Oh, you can exchange it.
But it's still holy.
Yeah, but it's still holy.
Yeah. And by the way, you don't want to exchange it. You want to take another one. You don't want to say this is for this, because otherwise it falls under these rules.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yera'eh ad she'istaev. So again, it's a problem. You cannot bring it as a shlamim, as a peace offering. You cannot do nothing with it, because it was designated for a Pesach sacrifice for the wrong thing. So it says, what do? You're going to herd it until it becomes blemished, ad she'ipol b'mum, v'imaker, then you have to sell it, ve'iplu damav lenedava. And the money, it's interesting, it doesn't even go to a peace offering. You cannot even use it to a peace offering. Why? Because a peace offering, it looks like you get some benefit from a peace offering. Over here, it says it's not... it says, what is nedava mean? At that time, in the temple, there used to be a lot of boxes. And you'll see the different boxes. This is to the upkeep of the Mishkan. This is to build the walls. This is for that. This is for that. And there was one box that it says, this is for extra sacrifices. Sometimes we bring sacrifice that God, be happy. This is, that's what it means.
Sheep, she can bring other sheep for the... No, I mean...
If what?
What they're going to do with the sheep?
Bring extra. That's right. But
it's going to be blemished.
Yeah, but once it's blemished, you sell it and you buy a good sheep to bring on the altar. Yeah, just extra. It's nice to have extra on the altar.
Actually, you can switch it and give them the money. No?
Don't say switch it. What do you mean switch it?
Machlif.
No, if you machlif,
until you have blemishing.
You can't. Because if you exchange it before it has a mum, you exchange it before it has a blemish, the exchange becomes just like the blemished one.
No,
that's right. So you have to exchange it after.
You go in the sheep until it gets blemished.
Uh-huh.
Once it gets blemished, what you do?
You sell it.
You take the money.
That's right.
And the question is, do you have to buy a new sheep, or you can take the money and give to the temple?
So
the holy temple itself for buying the...
So you would have thought you could take the money. This is what you would have thought you can take the money and do a peace offering with it.
No, I'm thinking just to give it to the temple.
Yeah, but so this is what he's telling you. He says, don't think that you can give it. You can give it to the temple in many ways. Peace offering is also to the temple.
Right.
So he says you're not allowed to give it as a peace offering.
So
that's what he's telling you. You cannot bring it as a peace offering. You have to bring it as an edava. As an edava, which means extra sheep. Nothing to do with you, whatever the rules.
You can bring it as money. That's what I'm trying to understand. Can you bring as this nedava just as money.
Yeah, you can bring
You send the other
nothing with our case you're talking about. In any case, or
No,
just
because here it says that you buy another one, and let's say you bring it to a peace offering. My question: if you don't buy another one and just give them the money, simple question. You know what I'm saying?
no. I think you need to give a sheep.
A sheep.
Because
have
if
to order
you
a
cannot
sheep.
just give him the money, because the money cannot go for the building of the temple, for example. It has to be designated for a korban, for a sacrifice. It cannot be designated for another purpose. It has to be specifically designated for a sacrifice, but not a peace offering.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a peace offering, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay?
Okay.
ויפלו דמיו ונותנים דמיו לתיבה שבמקדש. You give the money to a box in the temple, שממעות שבה מביאים בית דין עולות נדבה. That from that money you need to bring this specific sacrifice, the sacrifice.
You bring the money.
Yeah, but what do you mean you bring the money when you said to bring the money?
I had designate a sheep.
Uh-huh.
It's 2 years old. I said, oh, then what did I do?
Uh-huh.
I have to רואה אותה until she got blemish.
You sell it.
Once she got blemish, I sell it. I sold it, I take the money, I go to the Holy Temple, and I see a teva that say, this is to buy
Exactly.
for
Exactly.
this,
Very
I
good.
put the money there.
That's right. But not for any other purpose, just for that.
Just for this.
That's
one.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. ויש גוזים, and there are those who says, ויביא בדמיו שלמים. Some says, and you should bring, don't have to bring נדבה, or maybe you're not even supposed to bring נדבה.
Don't bring נדבה.
Maybe you're not even supposed to bring נדבה. You should bring with that money specifically peace offerings. אבל הרמב"ם פוסק, but the Rambam writes, ייראה עד שיפול בו מום, he has to be shepherded until he's going to be blemished, וימכר, and he would be sold, ויביא בדמיו פסח, and you have to bring specifically Pesach. So we have 3 opinions over here. One, only נדבה, one, only shlamim, only peace offering, and the Rambam says, no, it has to be the same purpose. The purpose of Pesach sacrifice. ואם לא נפל בו מום עד שהקריבו פסחו, and if there was no blemish until you bring this Pesach sacrifice, יביא בדמיו שלמים. Then he's going to bring in the blood, in his money, peace offering. Another case that can happen, המפריש פסחו ומת. Somebody designated a certain sheep, and that sheep passed away, died before. ולא היה עליו מנועים אחרים.
The sheep died or the guy died?
The sheep. No, the guy died. That makes no sense. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was the sheep, but it means the guy. Yeah. It has to be the guy. It has to be the guy. Yeah. המפריש פסחו ומת. Somebody who was designated a peace offering, and then he passed away. And in our case, if there's other people who are together with the sheep, so they can bring it. It's not a problem. But he was the only one. You remember we had a case, can the only one bring it? He was the only one with his Pesach offering. Or maybe all the bunch died. You know, there was one family and they died in there. ונמצא פסח עומד בלי בעלים. So now you have a Pesach sacrifice standing there without owners. So it says, לא יביאנו בנו אחריו לשם פסח. This is an interesting part. It's okay. Usually the son inherits everything that the father does. So in any other korban, maybe you can see the inheritance come automatically under the father. But over here, it's obviously talking about a case where the son was not in the same Pesach sacrifice of the father. He was in a different one. In a different group. So he cannot bring this in the name of his father because he was never enumerated as part of the korban. That's the problem. Yeah, exactly. הואיל והוא לא נמנה עליו עם אביו, because he's not counted with it, with his father, אלא לשם שלמים. So, but he can bring it for what? As a peace offering. שדינו כמותר הפסח שקרב שלמים. So it says, but he can still bring it as a peace offering, so he should bring it as a peace offering. The son. ברם, אם בנו נמנה עליו, but obviously if the son is here, it's like, he's right there, he can do it. אם אביו יביאנו לשם פסח, then he's allowed to bring it for a Pesach sacrifice. במה דברים אמורים? What case are we talking about? כשמת אביו ב-14 אחר חצות היום. It's talking about a case where the father passed away on the 14th after midday. Midday is the time that you can bring the Pesach sacrifice. It's the clicking time. That what happens? שנמצא חובת הפסח חלה עליו לפני האנינות. Because if he's a onen, he cannot bring it at all. But over here, the Pesach sacrifice came in before he was an onen. Before he was an onen. אבל אם מת קודם חצות היום, but if the father passed away before midday, which means that the son is an onen, he cannot bring the Pesach sacrifice anyway. הואיל וחלה האנינות קודם הפסח, since he's an onen before the Pesach sacrifice, then the son is pushed over to the Pesach Sheni, he cannot do it. הרי זה נדחה לפסח שני. He's pushed off to the second Pesach. It's not such a big problem because usually there's other people involved, they can use the Pesach sacrifice for it. Okay.